Good morning, everyone. Last class, we went over bank reconciliation. And when we talk about bank reconciliation, what are we doing? We are trying to figure out, one, in some cases, what was the money for? Why did the client purchase these items? The other thing is, does our company account match our bank statement? Again, does our company account match our bank statement? So we also talk about what is bank reconciliation. We're matching transactions. And what is the goal? The goal is to get our records accurate and also align with bank records. However, things on the bank record could not be relevant. So if they're not relevant, what are we going to do? We're going to journalize them out. Are we going to remove them or delete them? No, we're going to journalize them out. So again, bank reconciliation is to look at fraud. If there is fraud, that means maybe someone is purchasing on the account and we're not realizing it. So how often do we look at our records? Weekly. Many people look at the records weekly to see that there's no unauthorized transactions. We also look for error detections. We also do reconciliation for accuracy. Amounts are relevant and matching. We also do it for reports for the managers. So can we pay people? Can we buy things? So this is why we do reconciliation. Now, when you reconcile your accounts, you need to reconcile all of your accounts. In the past, people used to just look at your company records and the bank statements. No, nowadays you gotta reconcile the square. Is all the square transactions relevant? Because people use their accounts for personal and they use it for several business all in one. So many times you have to reconcile the square. We have to reconcile the Zelle. Why did this person send you the Zelle? Is it for business? Is it for personal? So, is it for a loan? Is it for a sale? That is when we talk about the Zelle. Why did they sell you the money? Or why did you sell them money? Everyone understands? Also, we look at some purchases. Are the purchases personal use? Are the purchases business use? So when you look at these accounts, you need to reconcile not just what's on the bank statement and say, yes, it's correct. Not what is on the square and say, yes, it's correct. What is in the Zelle and say, yes, it's correct. We need to reconcile all accounts. So we need to look at them very often, and many times we recommend weekly. As we talk about in class, weekly is better. Some companies don't allow Zelle in the business transactions. Some companies don't allow certain transactions. Why? Because it could be for personal and business use, and it could create too much work. So as we talk about, if you're buying from a company like BrandSmart, you're buying from a company like Best Buy, it could be personal, it could be business. Walmart, same thing. And in some companies, as we talk about, they put every transaction in supplies for transactions that are difficult or for companies that are difficult to decipher, like Walmart, like Bravo, meals. You can buy some things everywhere. So some company says, forget this. Let's just put all of these companies that has multiple things you can buy, office supplies, food, etc. Let's just put them all under supplies. And some company says, let me decipher out for these people, what is it? And why are they doing this? Many times to reconcile the accounts, they're looking at and say, is the expenses relevant? Everybody understand? Expenses need to be relevant, matching the period. Also, when you look at the expenses, you need to ensure that the expenses are also categorized correctly. So how do you handle the returns? That's another problem. When you look at your QuickBook accounts, the returns come in, but it comes under maybe job supplies. Supplies is an expense, so it should not have any money attached. What do we use? Reimbursable. We use the one that we call reimbursable expenses, as we talked about in the last class. So you will see a lot of that in bank reconciliation. When you reconcile, as I talk about in the other classes, you also have to reconcile your cash register that you use inside of the business. You also have to reconcile your bank accounts with the bank statements to the company record. So we're doing quite a few reconciliation as we go along. We also need to look at our statements to make sure things are matching in the period. So let's say you're in QuickBooks and you're reconciling for the month of July. You're reconciling maybe August 1st, August 2nd, August 3rd. You only click add, the word add, for all the accounts that are for July. Don't add in August until August is finished. Now, there's a different way, and that's for QuickBooks Online. If you're doing QuickBooks Desktop, you enter only the ones for that month, then you reconcile month per month per month. You don't go ahead and reconcile in the desktop one. You don't reconcile in weekly. You don't have to, because you're typing all of those in. But when you're in the QuickBooks Online, I would suggest that you look at everything weekly. When I'm doing the desktop ones, I am looking at it one by one. So I'm checking it off and typing it into the text as I go. So again, when we reconcile all our accounts. You reconcile the cash register. You reconcile the bank transactions. But make sure that things are relevant and therefore the right period, and make sure they are categorized correctly. When we talk about categorized, when we have refunds, where do we put them? When we have the payroll expenses, where do we put them? Is payroll being automatically done by ADP, Gusto, QuickBooks? We talk all about that. Make sure everything is reconciled. So in our next class, we're going to go over again a little bit more about payroll, but we're going to focus our attention on reconciliation. That is important. Some people only do payroll for periods or for maybe one or two persons, because there's other ways of handling how much money I make. Everyone understands? So until next class, let's reconcile our accounts. And what does reconcile mean? Look at what is on the bank statement and see if it's inside of your company accounts. So what kind of accounts could be on our bank statement that is not in our company account? Service charge. The bank charge you for overdraft fees, service charge, not inside of your company records. What could be in my company records that is not in my bank statement? I made some deposits, but the bank has not cleared it yet. Sometimes we have outstanding checks. I have seen where people have been paid and they forget to cash their check. Yes, the check is in the bottom of the handbag, hold it up, put somewhere, and they forget to cash that check. So those are some transactions that we will see that needs to be what? Reconciled from the company books to the bank records. Thank you, everyone, and have a superb day. Until we meet again, stay sweet.